It's race day 6 at Detroit, and I hopped on the 450s for this week, since it's the East Coast and I raced the West Coast on the 250s. So I just thought I'd try to learn the 450s and try to qualify. Qualifying went better than I thought. I qualified in 21st with a 51.1, which was a lot better than I thought. I did not feel very good at the track when I was practicing before the quali, but I managed to get it together and actually do a solid lap. As for the main, I felt like the first part of the race was actually better than I thought, but you'll see I start to struggle a bit at the later part with a road and stuff like that. And like one thing also with the road, like it just seems to be a little bit deeper on the 450s compared to the 250s. Like the road are very kind of deep on the 250s as well, but it doesn't get this bad as early in the race as it does on the 450s. That probably has to do something like with the weight or something. I'm not really sure. But the road was really deep. Apart from that, I rode good in the early part, I think. Like for playing 450s like a week and a half only before this. Like I've been on the 450 like once or twice before this, but I haven't like seriously sat down and played the 450s before like a week ago. So I mean, it's not a bad performance at all. But I also think I think it's easier to go from 250s and go to the 450s, since like to go around the track on a 250 you have to be better, like just to go around. Like with a 450, like the thing you have to do is like you have throttle control, and then you can kind of like stop and go if you want, at least a lot more than on the 250s, since the 450s has a lot more power. But it is harder to control the 450s, like not only the power but like the weight. Like if the bike kicks out the back end, like you feel that a lot more on the 450s compared to the 250s. One thing I also noticed that like if you get up to a wheelie and you start going a little bit sideways, the 450s are much more susceptible to like just giving out. So in a way, it's easier to go from 250s to 450s. Like just because you have to have more skill just to get around the track consistently with on a 250. Like I'm not saying it is easy to do a run a 450. Like if you're bad at the game, you're gonna be bad both on the 450s and the 250s. But the thing I mean is that you have to have a lot more flow and carry your speed a lot more on the 250s, which I think makes it harder. But at the same time, learning the 250s and getting good at the 250s, it really makes you good at the game. Like you really have to know how to go fast in this game to be able to run 250s good. Like I also noticed that when I do like the MXB ranked, like almost like everyone is on the 450s, but if you know how to ride it 250 and don't crash, that's a top 5, like just by you being able to actually play the game properly. But enough with that. The track, I thought it was nothing special. It was nothing really too technical, but it wasn't like easy. Um, I felt the sand section was a little tricky. That's why I go into the outside like all the time, just to get that like traction. Like the berm on the outside was a little bit better than on the inside lines. And me not being good at the 450s, I couldn't really utilize the insides. Like the most tricky part was like this section here, like tripling in here. I thought the setup, I just didn't get it. That's also because like skill issue. So like, I mean, it's not too hard if you know how to play a 450. Like most of these guys can do it consistently every lap, but I'm not that good on 450s. Like, the thing is, I know how to go fast in this game, since I'm good at the 250s, but I'm not very good at handling the 450s, which are very noticeable if you watch my gameplay. So I think that's why I managed to qualify and get through the heat. Like, I know what to do to go fast in this game, which is a big part of actually going fast in this game. Like, knowing like how much you can push and how like smooth you have to be. Like most of the times it's faster to just be smooth in this game, and it takes a lot of time to like notice and learn that. And yeah, that was just a stupid racing incident. Yeah, but anyway, like that was stupid as well. Yeah, but anyway, like just knowing how to go fast in this game, it's just really beneficial to whatever bike you're riding. And I think that's the reason why it's easier to go from the 250s to the 450s, because the 250s kind of you need to know how to go fast in the game to go fast on a 250. But yeah, just some small crashes, like some stupid mistakes. I'm just trying to like hold it together. Like my goal for this race was not to like be top 10 or something. It was just trying to get through kind of consistently, preferably a like around 15th place, which, spoiler alert, did not happen. I feel like I'm holding it together quite well right now, but I mean, it's just something about that the races, like at the later part I just for some reason just choke and like start crashing and stuff in the later part of the races. Same in the 250s, like in the early part I'm kind of just trying to get through, just doing my laps, doing a small mistakes because I'm not really in the race yet. In middle of the race, like I feel really fast, I'm starting to gain time on people, and then at the later part of the race I'm just starting to make stupid mistakes and like can't put a lap together. And that's just something I have to practice, and me not being good at the 450s it definitely does not help that. As you can see, like in that section I missed the triple step on in, and then I messed up the next jump as well going into the next section. And I think a lot of that has to do with just, in this case, not being comfortable on the 450. I think like one part also that I tell myself maybe that like the races are like, what is it, 5 minutes longer. So I mean, I'm not used to riding any bike for 20 minutes straight. Like recently I've just been like focusing on quality time, and And you can see now I'm starting to try to take that inside, because the outside rut was very deep and I just couldn't get the like step on like from that with the road. So I'm trying to get the inside line to work, but my lack of skill on the 450 doesn't really help me. So yeah, it's a little hard when you can't hit the inside because you're too bad, but you can't hit the outside because you're too bad as well. So yeah, but I mean, I'm currently in 17th. I mean, that's respectable. I'm not dead last. And you can see I'm trying to hit this section again, but I just can't like get a double in for some reason. And that's like one of the things I struggle with on the 450s is just turning. Like, they are so heavy to turn compared to 250s. Like, the 250s, I come into a turn, I barely brake and I just swing the bike around. But you can't really do that on the 450s. You have to like really get the bike to settle before turning, which I'm not used to. Like the 250s, you settle on their own pretty much. So you can see that especially when I'm hitting the flat corner in this section right here, this one, like I don't really know how to get the bike turned properly, and that just messes up the whole section. And also, like, I have not done a lot of suspension testing. Like, I'm just using a free setup from SPX. Like, it's like good enough for me. Like, I don't know the bike well enough to like go do my own settings and stuff. Like, I try to do that, but I just made it very bad in the whoops instead. So I ended up switching back to the free setup. One thing I also noticed is like going into a corner, like I felt like the bike didn't like grip like in the beginning of the turn. Like it feels like the bike is gonna slide out from you. And that also, like, sometimes when I exit the corners, I feel like the bike, like the back end want to slide out a bit. Especially in the like going out of a turn, but I can feel like both tires don't really want to settle going into a turn, so that just made me like more uncomfortable kind of. And then like going into like starting to being lapped, like it just messes you up so hard, like having to let like you should move over like I did when you are lapped, but just slowing down and stopping like your race, kind of like it just messes up your flow, and they end up crashing, and I have to wait them out for this section. And then Cam comes around, like there's like half a lap now where I just have been waiting for people to go by me. So you just lose all your flow and momentum, and me not being very comfortable with the 450, like it's hard to regain the flow. Like even on a 250, which I'm used to, like I feel like it's hard to regain your flow after like letting people by, like stopping on the track. But I mean, if you're slow, that's what you have to do. I mean, I would not like go a lot faster, like even if I didn't have to slow down. So I'm not gonna blame that. So like it's just, if you're slow, that's just something you have to do. One thing which are quite annoying is that sometimes you have a blue flag for like 2 laps, because the lappers are like kind of approaching you, so you get like the blue flag, but they're not able to pass you yet. Like you can't, like you get the blue flag, but you can't see them in your rhythm section. So you just end up like running, like racing behind you, like for like an entire lap, which also kind of messes you up. Like this time for like no reason. So I mean, that's also kind of one thing why there could be a reason also why like people like are bad lappers, because like you get the blue flag so early sometimes. So like do your lap, like a whole lap, and then the person behind you approaches you. So that's, I mean, I think in my experiences, like this race, that could be like adjusted a little bit. Like it's not a huge deal. It's just something that is a little annoying. But if you see the blue flag, you should look behind you and let the people behind you past. And also the thing that happened a few times is like you're having the blue flag, but the person behind you are like the person behind you in standings. And you can't really see that until they are really close. So you don't really know if you have to let them by or like race them. And also one thing that is like really annoying is when you have a lapper coming up on you and the same time like the person behind you in like the standings, and you let them by, but the other kid like doesn't let them by, so he just kind of races them and he passes you. Like that's just being a bad lapper and a dick at the same time. So if you have people behind you, let them by, and if you are about to pass someone while like there are people behind you, just let them by. Just be nice. Yeah, but enough complaining. As you will notice, like this is the time where I start to like ride bad, like because I kind of lost my flow from all the lappers, and like starting to lose my focus. And like this is what I'm talking about. Like that person blocked past me, like he just almost took me out, and at the same time he's holding up the person behind him, which is like the person lapping him. So that's kind of what I'm talking about. So that was just kind of annoying. But as you can see, I'm starting to ride really bad right now. Like I don't know if I actually like get a solid lap together, like from this point on. And I think it's Aidan now that is coming up behind me. So that's kind of fun to like race someone that you have seen on like YouTube. Like I don't really follow him that much, but he's just one of those guys that are kind of known in the community. I think that's Aidan. I could be wrong, because there's like two Aidans, I think. And I'm not... I think it's the Aidan that is kind of known in the community. But either way, yeah, as you can see, I got zero flow. And I started to actually hit this middle line when it got like rutted up, because I felt like that it holds you a lot better now that it is like rutted. So that's just kind of, it's kind of weird to think about that you started doing a line when it started to become like rutted, but I just felt a lot better hitting that section, like the middle sand rut, when there was a bit of rut on it. Because as I said earlier, it didn't really hold you before that. And jumping the whoops was really nice if you get that section that I got right there. Like, I got it a lot better like 1 or 2 times, I think. It's like when you jump in, you land in the middle, you gear up to like third, and you just jump out of it. So you basically kind of skips the whole section. That was really nice. I mean, in my opinion, I think that the single, or whatever you call it, like the bump before the whoops, should have been just a tiny bit smaller, so you can like kind of scrub it and blitz the whoop. But like finding the line, jumping them, I mean, I'm not complaining. It was a really nice line. You could hit it consistently. So, I mean, the whoops weren't too bad. You could blitz them if you got them right as well. That's what I did in qualifying. Like, you just you just like kind of scrub, go slow, gear up to third, get a little bit more speed for whoops, and yeah, just hit them in fourth with the 450 power. And that's like, I think whoops are easier on the 450 if you got a good setup, which I feel I have. Like the 450's ability to just grip the whoops and just drive you forward, it's really nice coming from the 250s, because you can basically enter the whoops really slow and hit fourth gear, and you like accelerate through the whoops. Now the thing with hitting the whoops on a 450 is that if you get a little bit sideways, you're basically the thing with the whoops though is that on the 450, if you get a little bit sideways, it's much easier to just fly off the bike compared to the 250s. That could also be a skill issue, I don't know. But I feel like the 450s are, like, if you get kicked, the 450s are a lot harder to save. And I don't know if anyone noticed, but I literally went past the finish line right before I got lapped again. So I'm literally the last guy on track, I think. No, there's one person behind me right now.